if you're a good reader of newspapers, they were awash with all information about the church in Kenya. And one of the most hard-hitting articles is about the Catholic Church of Kenya. The Catholic Church of Kenya in its conference, that is the Kenya Conference Catholic Bishops meeting, issued a standing letter on 14th of November this month. And this letter was specifically addressed to the head of state. And part of the things that the Catholic Conference of Bishops of Kenya have been able to address are the issues that are of great importance to this country. And most people have been able to come out and compare what the Catholics have been able to do with what the church was in the early and the mid-90s. For those of you who are old enough, those who are good students of history, will be able to tell you that in the 90s, the church in Kenya was vibrant. The church in Kenya will not keep silent when they felt that there was a violation of the Constitution of Kenya. The church in Kenya will not keep silence when they knew that there was injustice being committed by the government of the day. The church in Kenya will not keep quiet when they knew that there was corruption betifiling this great nation. The church was alive and active. And for those of you who remember the likes of Alexander Muge, the great legends of the Anglican Church of Kenya, the people who will stand up and be able to speak to the president, Daniel Dorotich Arap Moi. That time, the president was law unto himself. The president was a dictator, and they will tell you that he was among the few dictators in Africa. But the likes of Alexander Bishop Muge will be able to stand up and point a finger at the president when things were not right. Remember during the famous tribal clashes in the year around 2000 and 2001 in Nakuru, when Bishop of the Catholic Church, Ndingi Mwana Wanzeki, will stand up to Moi and tell him on his face that what was being done, the violence that had rocked the country instigated by the government, was wrong. And the church was able to point out what was wrong with the country at that time. I remember the likes of Henry Okulu, the likes of David Kitari, the likes of Bishop Reverend Njoya, the bishop of the PCA Church. These were the men of the cloth that were feared in equal measure. Feared not because they were able to, issue statements that will, bother on incitement or anything. But they were feared because of the immense following that they had into the country. And for 14th of November this year will go down as historical in the sense that the Catholic bishops under the Kenya Conference of the Catholic Bishops of Kenya issued a letter addressed to the government. And these are some of the things that the bishops highlighted. And part of the things was, one, that there is a culture of consistent lies from the government that the bishops were saying should be pointed out and should be stopped with immediate effect. That the Kenya Kwanza government was out of touch with the reality that was happening in the country. That whereas people have continued to suffer under the watch of this government, nothing much seems to be coming out of the government to be able to change or rectify this scenario. They said that there has been consistent abductions and killing, and especially the youths who participated in what we were calling the famous Gen Zs. Up to now, most of those youths those that were abducted, those that were killed, some went missing, to date have never been found. And the Catholic Church came out strongly to condemn this and put the government on notice that that is not the right thing to be done. Another issue that they, pointed out was that the government systematically seems to be stifling, the freedom of speech among its Kenyans. And Kenyans have now been warned by politicians who are allied to the government, cartels who are allied to the government, that anybody with a contrary opinion, they are now being threatened with, bare consequences. That if they so persist, they will find it very difficult to survive in the country. And these threats are real, they're alive, and they are there. Another thing that the bishops have highlighted in this letter is the overtaxations of Kenyans. That Kenyans are being taxed left, right, to the extent that now the Kenya Revenue Authority have issued out a directive that they are now even going to tax the people's M-Pesa. If you are sending an M-Pesa, the person who is sending will be taxed. The person who is going to withdraw will be taxed. And this is really going down not well with Kenyans. You remember on 1st of January 2025, they have also issued a directive that anybody flying in, whether you are a visitor, whether you are a Kenyan who has just come from out, if you will be carrying any electronic gadget, then they will be using what they are calling the IMEI number to be able to ensure that you comply with taxation. Taxation to Kenyans is not a bad idea because it's a constitutional right for every Kenyan to pay taxes. But if the taxes are going to be punitive, if taxations are going to stifle economic growth, if taxations are going to infringe on the benefits of Kenyans in terms of their earnings, then that is where the line is drawn. So Ruto and his aides are really went ahead and interjected and, claimed that the Catholic bishops were speaking out of context, that there is nothing factual that the Catholic bishops were raising. But a few days after that, in a church in Embu, the president, sensing the mood on the ground and the feel of the people, retracted his statement and said that he has listened to the Catholic Church and he's going to respond to the issues that they had been able to raise. That was received with a bit of mixed soul because people knew that it may not be as easy as he was saying. Another team of people that have come clearly out to condemn this are now the SEK, bishops, together with the PCA bishops, and they have added to this voice, and they are saying the government must now be able to come out clearly and fix things like, the university education funding model, which they say is not working. They say it has issues that must be addressed. The SHA funding model of health, transition from NHIF to SHA, SHA, has not gone down well with most Kenyans, and most Kenyans are having challenges, accessing the healthcare. These are some of the pertinent issues that the church is addressing. And the president will do it right to be able to respond. And the following day on Sunday in a Catholic church in Nairobi called Soweto, where the president was in attendance, the governor of Nairobi, Sakaja, was in attendance. Governor of Nairobi, as is the issue with the politicians, gave a donation of 200,000 to the choir in church. They also, the head of state also gave a donation of 600,000 to the choir and the parish missionary council for the same. The head of state again also gave 2 million to the construction of the father's house and promised the father 3 million for the same. And in these circumstances, these donations violate the principle in that bill. And therefore, the Catholic Church, under the umbrella of the Kenya Conference Catholic of Bishops, have been able to issue a letter stating that they will be able to refund back the money to the sender. And this is sending a dire message to the Kenya Kwanza government that the church is not now going to lie down. It's not going to be business as usual. That procedures must be followed in doing anything, and that the church is not going to be used as a platform for the politicians to be able to further their selfish political agenda in the name of doing donations. And this is being emulated by other churches like the Anglican Church. The PCA have also added a voice on this same issue. And this, to me, is the first step towards, rectifying this nation that has gone astray. And I hope and believe that this will send a message not just to the government, but to any other individuals or organizations that are, out there wanting to solicit funds from the members of the public or using a church platform as a means to achieve their means, which violates the law, that should be able to curb that. And I hope that in future, as we go towards the election, where money will be flowing left, right in the country in the name of wooing Kenyans to be able to vote in a certain manner, that will be stopped so that Kenyans can be able to begin judging politicians based on the promises they are giving, and also for those who are in the office, judging based on what they have been able to do in fulfillment of the campaign promises they gave in 2022. And on this note, I want to applaud the church in Kenya, the Catholic Church, specifically the Catholic Church and the bishops, and more so the Anglican Church that have come on board sharply to be able to add their voice, and the PCA Church. And I hope that even the evangelical churches will come out and be able to rally behind the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, the PCA Church bishops, and be able to make a stand so that we can be able to rectify our country once and for all. For those who have not subscribed to this channel, I request that you kindly do so.